Here are the 5 steps that I took to reach financial freedom myself and become a passive income investor. So guys, number 1 is going to be getting access to capital. And so for me, the way that I did it, and of course, everybody has their own way to do this. Some people get business loans, some people get credit, but I didn't know what I was doing. And so the way that I did it is I actually just found ways to create a high income for myself. So I started developing skills in myself that would allow me to generate a high income. So basically higher than what I was making previously just at my job. So I started honing in on these skills. I started thinking, okay, if I learn how to do X, Y, Z, am I gonna make more money? And I started investing my time and money in order to start learning some of those skills. And I wasn't really sure exactly what I wanted to learn. I wasn't really sure exactly if it was gonna pay off, but I started looking for ways that I could start making some more money, because I figured, hey, if I start making more money, I'm gonna have maybe a little bit extra every month that I could just start investing. And whether that's into stocks, whether that's into Forex, whether that's into maybe e-commerce, whatever it is, I knew that I could potentially have a way out of my 9-to-5. So I started trying to save money wherever I could in order to generate that initial investment amount. After that happened, I realized, hey, now I have a little bit of cash, but at the end of the day, me investing maybe $10,000 isn't necessarily gonna make a life-changing difference. So no matter what I invested into, it could be the highest performing investment in my entire portfolio, but $10,000 is really just not gonna change my life. So I took that money, and this is step 2. The first one was getting a high income skill. And the second step was I wanted to invest that capital into myself. So I used that capital to make myself even better at the things that were making me a higher income. Now, that wasn't a high income by any means, but I started making more money than I was previously. I knew I was on the right track. I knew that I was gonna get somewhere if I just continued going down this pathway. I started investing into my own education and developing those skill sets that would make me even more money over time. I knew that if I committed to it, I would eventually have enough money that I could invest and start generating passive income for myself. The second step, it probably lasted maybe about 6 to 9 months or so. I started identifying which skills were paying me well and which skills weren't necessarily paying off as well as I thought they would. And then I started developing those skills even further so that I could eventually make more and more money and have a good amount of money to invest right off the bat. So this brings us to our third step, and the third step is when I actually started investing. So I started putting my money into different investment opportunities, and again, I had no idea what I was doing. So I just started putting money into things that I was maybe a little bit more familiar with. For me, initially it was Forex, so I started investing more into Forex, and then also a software that I created. And then besides that, I started going into like Bitcoin mining, started mining different cryptocurrencies, not just Bitcoin, real estate, oil wells, all these different things were some of the things that I started investing into. And I knew that, hey, if I just try all of them, I'm probably gonna find the ones that work, right? I knew that, hey, as an investor, I probably won't make money with every single investment, but I know if I diversify and I start investing into multiple different industries, I start investing into things that maybe are totally unrelated, maybe if one of them fails, the others will still continue performing. I had this strategy all built out in my head where I knew that if I started investing and I just stayed persistent and determined and just kept investing into these things, I knew eventually that they would pay off. And so I knew that it was a scary decision for me. I didn't really know what was going to happen entirely, but I knew that if I wanted to make a difference, I had to be willing to do the things that most people aren't willing to do. A lot of people say that they want to invest, but then they realize, hey, investing is actually kind of scary. We don't really know the outcome. We could potentially lose money. All these things could happen. But I always encourage people to look at the positive side of it. Okay, but what if it does work? It could fail. It could be a total waste of time, total waste of money. But what if it does work? This one investment could potentially change your life. And so for me, making that mindset shift was all part of this process. So that was step 3. Step 4 for me was diversifying. So now that I started to find some investments that were working, I'm like, okay, I really have an opportunity here to leave my 9-to-5. I really have an opportunity here to completely transform my life, to achieve time freedom, to achieve financial freedom, to achieve geographical freedom. I knew that I really had an opportunity to do something big here. And so for me, that was enough motivation for me to go out and start diversifying into things that I've never even invested into before. And at this point, I was getting a little bit better at doing the due diligence. So I started looking for things that would specifically cash flow at certain intervals, right? So maybe I had something that cash flowed every month. but maybe I didn't have something that cash flows every week or every day, or that I could withdraw from every week. So for me, I wanted to diversify how often I'm getting paid. Sometimes I just wanted to get paid once a year on certain investments, and really just discovering where I could find an opportunity to generate cash flow out of my portfolio. That was a whole process for me, really, but eventually I started diversifying enough to where I was comfortable now to leave my 9-to-5. And I knew that my portfolio was, generally speaking, safe. It was so diversified into so many different industries and so many different markets that even if 1 or 2 investments failed, I would still be very profitable as an investor. So that's kind of something that I've carried on beyond that, but it really was developed in this 4th phase. And then finally, the 5th phase is scaling. And now that I'm diversified, I can see that investment A, B, and C, they work. But investments X, Y, Z, maybe they don't work. So now that I've identified which investments are working, I can start scaling, because you don't want to scale the investments that don't work, obviously. But if you have good investments and you see that they're performing, you can start adding more capital to them. And once you start adding more capital, things start getting a lot more interesting. This is really where you can gain a lot of confidence and really change your life as an investor. After you found the things that work for you, you've been conservative up to this point, but now you've realized, okay, these are the things that I like investing into. These are the things that I like working with. Now, whether you're raising capital from your investors or your partners or whoever it is, or maybe you're just investing yourself, you're generating a substantial income at this point, so that, hey, maybe you don't even have to do it all yourself. Maybe you could start hiring a management team to help you manage all your investments. Now that you've built this portfolio, you've diversified, and now you're scaling. That's the final step to achieving that passive income investor status. And now you no longer have to work a 9-to-5. These are the exact steps that I took to leave my 9-to-5 and create passive income for myself and totally change my life. Alrighty guys, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.